You have people listening from every corner of this planet. No knowledge has been dispersed so beautifully, so balanced across the planet, of this planet ever. Maybe in the universe. You have the full potential of achieving everything in the universe. There is no need and there is no reason for man not to achieve it. So, wherever you are, the way I taught you to make the coils double coil inside, you have continuous equal gravitational magnetic field. And if you put CO2 on it, and you put zinc on it, you have connected the emotion of the man to it on a stable condition. And you'll find out you become a very peaceful man. Here, instead of having galaxies and universes and creating connection magnetically, we have used the matter state gravitational magnetic field strength to dominate and dictate the shape of the plasma. The nanotechnology, the nanomaterial which you have collectively developed in different ways, by caustic, by electric currents, by whatever, fire or whatever, has that advantage that the matter, the nano, and the plasma is all the same. So connection is very solid. It's very strong. The power of the plasma technology, the way we have thought, is beyond imagination of the man. Now you can create and control the plasma, which is the mother of the creation of the universe. You are given the seed of the essence of the creation. The foundation does not belong to no one and is not made of one anymore. You are developing it. You are structuring it. And from today, we will be still the same. We'll still develop the technology in different names, in different colors, in different nationalities which they do not exist. It is beautiful when we see the Christian, the Muslims, the Jews, and every other belief are working together to build up systems. We have already become one faith. We already have become one nation, and we already have become one planet. You got to remember one thing. Dates is irrelevant. Today is the last day of the Christian calendar, or tomorrow is the beginning of another. One day is connected to another. We don't stop. We are working around the clock. The Keshe Foundation team is working irrespective of time, position, religion, country. And now we achieve what we set out for.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 324th Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, April 16th, 2020. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the Public Teachings in English My name is Rick Kremd. I'll be one of the hosts today along with Flint Mulhausen. And of course, we are joined with Mr. Mayran Kesh of the Kesh Foundation. And I believe he's ready to speak in today's workshop. Hello, Mr. Kesh.
Yes, good morning, good day to you. As usual, wherever and whenever you listen to these series of knowledge seekers workshops. We welcome the honorable members of the Universal Council and Earth Council as we take a new dimension into the journey of man in space. There's a couple of things from the past which I would like to clean out, and then we start a new cycle of teaching. And I'll explain to you step by steps where and how we will go. As you know, there is a strong evolution of work in Iran in respect to the Iranian Corona program. And the Iranian team has made an offer to world knowledge seekers and those who want to help with their people across the planet or in Iran. I sent you a link, a picture, Rick, if you can put it up. The Kesh Foundation has appointed this organization in Iran, which has direct access to and delivers all the material for One Cup, One Life. This is everything that you just add water to the cup and you start. What we've done is, this is not sold. This is, you make a donation, how many lives you want to save. Very simple. You decide, I want to save 10 lives, 100 lives. You make a donation or you make a payment to this company, and the company delivers the full history, who received it, the family, the person, and you receive a report from the purchase of the material to the delivery to the person. We took this up because the process across the world is taking shape in a very harsh way, and a lot of people don't have time. You can literally donate a life. And this company is independent from Kesh Foundation, but has been supporting a lot of work in Iran and has covered many people. They have the capability between 5,000 to 10,000 cups a day, and they can meet the demand. So in a way, this is not a sale. This is, you want to save a life, how many lives, and it's their job, they will do it. We've never done this, but at this crucial time in Iran, across the planet, there is a need for, in a way, organizing the totality in the shape of as it is. This is part of the work which the Kesh Foundation in Iran has taken up, and this company has supported the work of the foundation deeply, and in response they have offered this directly. The material comes from the mines of Iran. That's why, and they are in the center of the what we call the industry in Isfahan, and they can support everything, even nano-coated plates that can help people to immediately jump up. So you decide how many lives you want to save, and you can pay for it. They deliver to wherever you want. If it's outside Iran, postage and packaging has to be paid for. In Iran, it's free. On the other hand, we go back to the teaching. If you want to remove this, it'll be okay, Rick. The whole process of the teaching has come to a new dimension. And as I said in the couple of teachings since Monday, Kesh Foundation has laid out and set out and is going through the what we call preliminary stages of delivery into the international arena for what it says the physical matters of all these conditions, how they can overcome. We announced weeks ago, we saw corona in the head, in the brain, in the organs, and in the skin. And it took the world community to reach some weeks later and confirm it. So in a way, we are far ahead of the present time. And as we are far ahead in so many ways, to us, the situation with the corona is over. We are looking what corona has brought and how we can develop to the next step. Corona showed us our weaknesses. Corona showed where we have not managed to cover ourselves. Corona brought us indication in the lack of education, the knowledge of man, and what they called control of the emotion, and the use of emotion to the benefit of some who wanted to take the nations for ransom. We saw the misconduct of Gates in calling himself, pre-shooting himself, that he'll be the world leader, and he will use his vaccination to control the world. We saw the first shot on the bows of his presidency in a way as His Excellency President Trump sank his boat. We knew there is a problem as some 2 or 3 weeks ago, the government of the United States canceled the $10 billion Microsoft contract. And on the back of it, we saw the indication of President Trump yesterday ignoring Bill Gates and his threat that he'll release the vaccine in November when he shows he'll become the president on the back of another president, a leech life. Then this comes to, as we see, legal actions to strip the assets of Gates Foundation for taking humanity to ransom. This is to come. We will see this. We will not be short of in 2 or 3 years' time seeing Bill Gates imprisoned for life with his wife for crime against humanity and genocide. This is actually rolled by what President Trump decided to do yesterday. In a way, the humanity has been taken to ransom by one criminal organization, and they thought they are head and dictate. We'll shoot another arrow into this ship to make sure that it sinks for good. Teaching of today looks post-corona. And what this means is we have given all the knowledge to the governments, is for them how they use it, and how the Keshe foundations around the world will bring it to be used. We have seen the recurrence of corona in a different shape, claiming millions more lives in China. The statistics and security reports from the United States confirms 20 million deaths in China from corona. This is not anymore Keshe Foundation data release, but confirmed by the National Intelligence Securities of United States that they now confirm China has and could have lost in excess of 20 million in the first cycle. We expect the second cycle in China to bring another 30 to 50 million deaths on the table. We have curtailed the progress and the death in Iran, and we are supporting all the Iranian nationals across this planet through the Iranian setup. We have done this, and a number of you have helped the Iranians across this planet as they needed help in the past few weeks, as the true work of one nation has taken shape. On the other hand, what will take shape is very simple. We have to go beyond and look where the pitfalls, where the mistakes, and where we have to be vigilant has to come from this incident. We are not looking at the political and geopolitics or financial politics of it. We are looking at it as a human race. If you look, and if we understood the totality of the teaching in past few weeks, there is one clear indication, and that indication is we are all passengers of this ship called Earth. And in so many ways, as we are the passengers of this ship, our defenses were not strong enough to stand an invasion of a virus called corona. This showed a lot of weaknesses in our security structure of this planet. Security structure and apparatus, how mankind will protect itself from what we know as an outside external energy source known we call as a virus. In a way, the manned spaceship, the mothership, has been taken to ransom by an outside man-made or whatever to ransom. This ship needs decontamination. This ship needs cleanup. This ship needs to understand how to handle this virus for it to be able to survive. There's no difference between this and this in the space of the universe. We don't look at how our shield of protection, our bodies was opened to this. We are going through a postmortem to see how we can set systems that by setting up these systems, this will never happen. As in time to come, these spaceship of the man return to the mothership, they'll bring many coronas. We have to learn from this how to set up the conditions that this will never happen again. Otherwise, every time mankind in the coming months and years sends any ship to outside, can bring many coronas with it back in. We have to learn a new way of decontamination. We have to learn a new way of protecting both ships in space and the motherland. We got to look at where was our weaknesses, what defense technology we can put in with understanding of the new plasma technology that this situation will never happen again. The war of the man uses bullets and guns. The wars of the space uses viruses and energy packs. This virus showed the body of the man is too weak. Or man has not learned a way to protect himself from this condition. Man has two choices: to go for a physical protection like cancers and the rest, or man learns the second choice, or the first to us, the transition of the energies. What does the transition of energy mean? At the moment, we have given the technology of the GANs to the man to make some preliminary protections by drinking it and covering itself. But in space, we don't have that facility. In space, we do not have such opportunity. In space, we have to understand the essence of the creation to be able to stand such an insult on man. These kind of assaults will destroy the humanity if every time a ship takes into space. I raised this question years ago with NASA, years ago with the Russian Space Agency, and in so many ways has never been understood fully. We see
a hidden rise of viruses since the man took to the moon the first time. The cycle of viruses were entered into the planet through the first space excursions. Don't forget, man was looking for a dust on Apollo, but viruses were attached independent of the time and the space. Introduction of new viruses into the knowledge of the man came with Apollo trips. Now, with these new excursions in a deeper space, how many more will bring with us? As I said, we are past is a postmortem of Corona for Keshe Foundation, and we are showing you the weaknesses that you find the solutions that this will never happen. Maybe there was a coincidence good for man to have the Corona, to understand the energies which he cannot control, to find new ways that makes him ready to become part of the universal community. You have to understand there is a hidden agenda for both sides. If you take viruses back into Earth, what viruses man has that can damage the universal community, and unknowingly man will take with him into space. When a white man went to America, many indigenous people died of a simple cold which a white man brought from Europe. They never had it, they never had immunity to it, and it killed many. Now we have seen the game one way. What about the energy levels that man will take with him without knowing, and it puts in danger the life of the universal community? The postmortem of Corona brings out many, many facts on the table for human race. In one way, the human race has to make sure he is in total and absolute clean condition, both on exit and entry. Both onto motherland and onto the ship. We are not going to travel the space of universe just sitting in the ship. We are going to travel the space of universe by landing, seeing, transferring the soul energy to physicality, and returning. And this process, we have to stay clean. Physical transportation will be part of the process of the pleasures of physicality. But in time, man will choose in prime conditions and the prime process of the transfer of the soul of the man than the transfer of the physicality of the man. The force of the physical conditions will force man to understand in more depth about how to protect himself in the physical and the soul level, that on the return or entry of the virus onto the planet, mankind can protect itself in one go. In so many ways, the postmortem of Corona brings Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers to one point. And that is, do we put the soul of the man to be engaged by the physicality of the man? or the mankind will understand the power of his soul and encircles the physicality through the power of the soul of the man. In this process, the physical life will not come to an end, as the strength of the soul of the man will protect the physicality. As I've said in the recent past, I wrote a paper to explain this years ago. It's called Interatomic Fusion. The interatomic fusion paper I wrote was not about the energy, but was about the time to come when man will take the physical condition of his body embedded within the circle and the strength of his soul, that nothing, no chronos can ever touch. I wrote the paper years ago for the time when the man is ready to understand. And now you understand the essence of the paper. That time mankind could not understand, but now you understand why. Extending the strength of the proton that it brings in the electron within its boundary through the energy transfer and protects it as an independent entity. Interatomic fusion is, in a way, expansion of the soul of the man to interact with his atom, with its own confirmation of creation, the physicality of the man, to bring him within control. In other words, we call it a mother hug. When a child runs and is scared, the mother opens her arms and protects the child, hugs him and holds him. And in a way, the mother, the soul of the man, has to be able to do that with a child, which is confirmation of his existence and physicality, which is the body of the man. The postmortem corona brings in a new knowledge. I set this out on a very slow steps some 3-4 weeks ago. Initially, I brought it in as one cup, one life. And I showed you this is the soul of the man. Then we brought you the second one, cup of life, which is to do with the physicality of man. Because this is the only way I could bring you the knowledge. And in a very, very clever, easy way, I introduce you the third cup, what we call the cup of man, which brought in the embodiment of the two, as you thought. But in fact, it brought in the first and the direct evolution in the knowledge of the science of man, or the evolution of the soul of the man. Many of you needed a test run to run your car, to see how it runs, to see if it works good and if it can respond. And I gave you the cup of man, because it brought to you, according to your intelligence, something which referred to your physicality and your pride, man. So the teaching has become very simple. If you came across and you became part of it, we teach you how to reach your soul. And in the process, protect your physicality. In a way, they can leash or you can come across any energy packs. If is within the soul of the man's strength, the physicality will survive. But remember, it said, I made man in the image of myself, which is that image within the center of the soul of the man. And when the soul acts, is an image and the strength of the image of the Creator. The process now comes how you, as the last man standing, can reach and trigger this. I gave you a test run, as we call it, a sandbag to run, to test. Last week, in a very simple way, I explained, and in the Indian teaching last Monday, and the Universal Council teaching on Tuesday, I set the scene for this to come. In this process, we showed you how to connect the physicalities and how to connect the souls. In so many ways, as I said, partially this, now you have to understand. And in so many ways, we have connected the soul of the physicality to the soul of the man. In so many ways, the cup of man is a reference point. That if you can, in a full understanding, connect to its totality or to its individuality, you will find a common strength, which in total will give you what you need. In this process, now the physical body of the man is weak and is vulnerable to forces which in totality vulnerable to very what you call abuse. What do? You bring the physicality in the realm of the soul. And you use the cup of man as a reference point for the confirmation of physical life when you want to return back to it. The gravitational magnetic field of the cup of life is your reference point for your physicality and soul. That once you trust your soul to take dimensions of the existence to overcome what we call the condition of Corona, for example, you move out, and then by changing the strength of the fields, understanding of the totality, you move back in and you take the new physical dimension in respect to the reference point you left behind. It takes less than a second to overcome the Corona. And in fact, it takes less than a second to overcome any viruses you might have picked up in space. It's a washing machine. It's putting you through a laser cleanup of your own soul. In so many ways, you do the same for yourself when you enter a new dimension in the universe, that your soul, your physicality does not become a poison to other races. It's your responsibility to protect them, and it's not their responsibility to be afraid of you. At the same time, if you pick up from them, it's your responsibility to clean your physicality in the condition of the contact from not bringing the Corona back to Earth or to your speech. You can put, as we did with the Chinese, as you've seen, they sprays and wash you with ganses. But man has to learn that he is responsible to use the strength of his soul to cleanse his physicality from criminal activities to viruses. The day of judgment is with the soul of the man from now on. Every step to protect yourself and to judge what I do does not harm to my physicality and to those who I'm responsible to for their physical and the soul life. How do you do it? Go back to your cup of man and stand in front of it. And in so many ways, you cannot put the cup of man this way and you stand in front of it this way, or you lie down and put a cup of man this way. A man has to be a man to stand the day of judgment in front of himself. I explained in the teachings in past days, you set a cup of man in the structure of the man. The soul of the man and the soul of the physicality of the man. And you stand the man with his soul and a weak physical condition and allow the transformation. As I was explaining to my son, there's a different way what you get when you whip the white of an egg with the egg, or with a yolk or without the yolk, and how you mix it with a fork or with the electric mixer. This is what you have to learn. Stand in front of the cup of man as a man, not as a dead man. Or try to understand what this means. In so many ways, I gave you the secret to overcome Corona 3 weeks ago. And all I heard was produces very, very little gases at the bottom. And have you seen the circles around the bottom? Have you seen why it's not producing so much? Because in reality, if you look at the ratio of the gans at the bottom of your water, you'll see an amazing thing which you never understood. For you as a human, the amount of the gans at the bottom is the amount of physical existence in your physical and the soul body. This is the replication of you, but you have no understanding of. When you look at the shape and the pattern of the ganses at the bottom, you see the soul structure and the pride and the stupidity of the man in respect to himself. How you are self-centered, how you are a giver. And when I look at the cup of man a man makes, I know the man. You all complaining, my cup of life doesn't make much. Then you look at the structure of your own body, how much of your own physical structure carries any material to confirm its existence, is nothing but water, but liquid, but nothingness. And then in that process, understand in the totality of the existence what you deal in the cup of life as physical dimension and the soul of the man. I am the creator of my own soul. You made the cup of man, and it's in tune and balance with you. Your behavior, your misconduct, and your own existence. You look in the Gans production and look into the behavior of the soul of the man. In so many ways, if you know about the magicians who read the coffee cups and tell you your fortune by looking at the structure of the ganses at the bottom of your cup of man, I tell you about the man. I come from a deeper space, and my knowledge is beyond your understanding. come from the Creator, and I have created bodies on the table in front of you in your own physical life. Now, look at your cups and see if in reality does the physicality wants to have the chrono to get rid of the physical life, or is the soul so generous that is prepared to give, to bring what you call interatomic fusion? As I said before, you cannot run a fast boat vertically on the surface of a water. It needs to be on its own dimension. And you all set the cup of life in a vertical death position of the man, where the separation of the soul and physicality has already taken place. Somebody's open the microphone. Can you hear me? Hello? Rick, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you, Mr. Kesh, and I hear some background noise, but I don't see any microphones open. It seems to be like it's coming from your circuit there somewhere.
It's something with Ursula.
Oh?
Pardon? That's
Okay.
right. No problem. Thank you very much. Just silence it. So you come to understand exactly where we sit and why and how we have introduced the cup of life and the cup of man and the two cups of lives. Now, set your cups in the structure of your physicality. And or set your cup of life in the structure of your death. You decide which side. Many of the knowledge seekers have started seeing the separation, seeing and understanding the separation of the soul of the man by seeing their own body lying where they can see the life in a different way, watching down and looking down. And one stupid guy in Isfahan said to the other knowledge seekers who reached the point of maturity as a family, your third eye has opened and the aliens come to get you. Don't forget, this guy is part of the same group as works with Israelis. So it comes to one understanding. Many of you will go to the next phase of the understanding where you're aware of leaving your physical body, but in a very generous and kind way. In a way, for the first time, you see what happens to you in the realm of physicality when you go to sleep. Now that you have elevated the soul of the man and you have elevated the soul of the physicality through the use of the ganses, gradually the strength of this allows you to reach the strength that you will see your own soul. You see, in a way, your own physicality. A number of knowledge seekers have reached this point in past few weeks. Witnessing their own physical life. This is exactly what happens to you when you die. But now you have the control of it. Now you're learning that I can be out of it. I can fix it, get rid of Corona, and go back into it. Because my energy, my power is more in the dimension of the soul of the man. Those of you who go to the steps of the flight, very few of you will reach to the flight to the Creator. In that process, you bear a child of the Creator with you to start a new cycle. And in the process of those of you who see your physical life, you will take the next step. That you learn how to travel the depth of the universe, and at the same time, when a need is, to come in and live within the soul of the physicality to protect the soul, or to stay out to protect the physicality that no one can touch it. In a way, for the first time as a human race, you can carry the body of the physicality within the structure of the soul of the man, that you never see the end, or what you call the death of the man. In so many ways, there's never been a death. And in so many ways, there is always an end of a visit to a position and to move on. The first time this was explained to man was some 2,000 years ago on the crucifixion of the Christ. But the man did not understand that Sunday was his day of his crucifixion. He was put in the physical pain. You call it the corona. He learned in that process to go to his soul and come off the cross and walk as another man. You call resurrection. Today, I teach you the resurrection. Today, you have been taught about resurrection. It was hidden in the books that the man cannot understand, but now the knowledge of the man after 2,000 years is so much that he can understand about the resurrection of the soul of the man to the dimension of physicality. In reality, as I said before, you took the matter into a nano, into a GANS, and then you took that GANS in a composition of its structure, and you made the physicality of any matter which you wanted. There is no difference between this and resurrection. We took the body of the man. We put it through its own structure of the pain and energy dimensions. We call it a corona, or we allowed it through the pain to mature, to understand the separation of the soul and conversion to any matter state as it needs according to the space and time. The man called the Christ walked out of the cross and became a normal man and traveled through the land to south of France and to Spain. And he lived a normal life as a man. So, for the first time, man in this condition of corona has been put through the pain of feeling it, the same as the Christ did, and it took to his soul. And then he manifests himself as a man who was recognized in the same dimension of physicality by Mary, and they took to the boats and land across the seas to live a normal life. Soon, the daughter of Christ's blood will be known to mankind, as he left the same. The bloodline goes through the female. Now you understand. The understanding of the corona was to bring mankind to such a process of pain that he understands the power of his soul and understand the position of the transition to the matter state. Last Thursday was the birth of Mahdi, and last Sunday was crucifixion of Christ. The day of resurrection within 3 days. Understand the knowledge, not the magic. Apply the knowledge and don't become a magician. If you understood in a cup of man, I gave you the cross. If you understood, not to crucify the man, but show the position of the strength of the man in respect to the operation of his soul and the point of departure.